Welcome, everybody, and a warm welcome to Steffi, who is joining me here today. My name is Lisa, and I'm also known as Job Coach Germany. And as some of you probably know, sometimes I have this wonderful opportunity of inviting expats who are currently living in Germany. And today I have this wonderful opportunity to talk to Steffi, who is actually from England. And maybe you already know Steffi from one of her Instagram channels or from her blog with her name, The Adventures of Steffi, or also known as The Unexpected Expat. Welcome, Steffi!
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us here tonight. So you guys, you can ask questions in between. So just comment on the video if you can see us and where you are maybe. And if you have any questions, talking to a real expat who is already living in Germany and has maybe done the journey that you might have ahead of you, feel free to comment down below and then we will ask these questions. So Steffi, it's really, really great to speak to you today. I have, in the preparation of our interview, I've told you that I'm totally obsessed with England because I have lived there myself for a couple of years. And I have listened to you at another podcast of Sean, the Germany Experience podcast. And it's just like, I mean, your British accent is just so wonderful. And it just definitely, when I'm listening to you, it feels like, oh yes, I'm back in England. This is so cool. And the first question that I actually have is, what actually motivated you to come to Germany?
Yeah, so originally, it was my boyfriend. He got a job offer here in Germany, and we were young enough and carefree enough, I suppose, to just say, yeah, let's go.
This is a wonderful opportunity. And between the job offer that your boyfriend received and you both deciding that you were going to do that, do you remember how much time was in between?
So he came for an interview in June 2019. Then he said, yeah, I want to do it. We're going to go. And from him saying yes to us officially moving to Germany was 6 weeks.
Wow. That's like a sprint. Okay.
Yeah, so in that time, I mean, very, very luckily we had some people who are now our neighbors in the town that we live in. They sort of took us, they were involved in the job that Zach, my boyfriend, was coming to do. So they sort of took us under their wing. They found us a flat and they kind of sorted everything that we needed for us. They spoke both fluent English and they're obviously German themselves. So it was amazing to have that kind of support network straight away before we'd even moved. But 6 weeks, it was still...
Still, it's a short amount of time because, I mean, it's really, really great that you have all of this support and the help, because when you're coming to a new country, especially Germany, with a very, very difficult language to learn, it's just so, yeah, just a little bit, I know. So it's it can be very overwhelming. So I'm really glad to hear that you had this support network here already, but still you have all your friends and your family and you didn't know that you were going abroad, and then 6 weeks and then meeting all of them and preparing everything. And did you come to Germany by car and bring stuff with you? Okay.
Yeah, originally, so we brought over as much stuff as we could in the car, and then we also hired a moving van to move the rest of our stuff. But luckily, we'd only been living out of our parents' houses for a couple of years. So actually, luckily, we didn't have too much stuff accumulated just yet. That was kind of handy, I guess, in this sense.
Yeah, so that's really good. So not that much furniture and so on.
No.
I remember when I moved back from England in 2017, I also hired a moving truck somehow, but everything I fit into 5 huge boxes. and everything else. I just told the people, okay, you can have it. But being an expat in England myself back then, I was only renting an apartment that was already furnished, so I could leave everything there. So when you came to Germany, was your apartment or your flat or house, was it furnished yet?
No, but we got lucky again. Our apartment came with a fitted kitchen, which
good.
is like gold dust in Germany.
That's so true. That's so
we
true.
and it had everything. Like I had a dishwasher and a fridge all like built into the style of the kitchen, so we had everything already there. That was amazing. And then our landlord so he was understanding of our situation, so he kind of left us. Like he left us a bed frame and a mattress and a table and chairs. Not like super fancy, but basic enough to get us started. So he was also incredible with that. And then he also brought around some like plates and bowls, really mismatched. But he was just very concerned about the fact that we had come all the way from England and we might not have anything to live with for the start. So that was really cute of him to do that. He's very sweet like that.
Yes, that's so true. I mean, this is really, really helpful, and it makes me actually smile, because somehow when I came back to Germany, or when I was still living in England and I was like coming back to visit my family, it always felt like we Germans are really rude and not as polite as the British people. And it's really great to hear that they are welcoming you, or that they welcomed you in that way, at least with a landlord.
So much.
It's your home and you want to feel safe, you want to feel welcome there. And you're now living in Bavaria, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And is this your first apartment still in Bavaria, or have you moved in between?
No, this is still our first apartment. And actually, so my boyfriend doesn't work for the same company that we moved here for originally now. He now works for a different company, which is actually based on the Austrian border. So it's still quite a way away, because we're based near Augsburg in Bavaria. But he has an apartment down there that his boss kind of owns, and a couple of the guys live there for free during the week, and then they come home in the weekend. And we did think about moving maybe closer to Munich, so it was less of a commute for him. But I just don't think we have a great landlord. We've got a massive 2 double-bedroom apartment with a fitted kitchen and 2 balconies, a housemeister who like puts all the bins out for us and everything. And it's such a lovely little town that we live in, and great community, that I'm really reluctant to move anywhere else just yet, because I think it would have to be like the ultimate perfect apartment or house that we move to. We've got it so good where we are.
Yeah, you got the full package. So and I mean, this is a great start for you, like coming to Germany and this is your first experience as an expat, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then like getting the full experience in such a wonderful way. I mean, it just, obviously there are always ups and downs, but it helps for the start if you have the full package. And I totally understand that you say, no, if we're moving, I want to have the full package again. And this is really, really difficult, because Bavaria is really popular. And obviously also the area around Munich is very popular and also very expensive. I mean, Bavaria in general is very expensive to live.
Yeah.
And does your boyfriend like have to commute every time, or is he also able to work from home?
Well, he can't work from home, because his job, he's as like a specialist mechanic for old-timer cars and motorsport stuff. So working from home is
not possible. I see.
A bit of a problem for him.
He has to be with a machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. And how long have you been living in Bavaria now?
Since 2019. So we moved straight from England to Bavaria. Yeah, I feel like we were probably quite spoiled in that, like I said, we've had the full package in terms of having a support system in place of German people who speak English, and then also great landlord, great apartment, beautiful state that we're living in Bavaria. I feel like we've got completely spoiled. yeah, and that's kind of why we're scared to move anywhere else and start all over again, just because I know, you know, I've heard stories and I know that people were very privileged to have had this experience for sure.
Yeah, it can be difficult, that's true.
Yeah.
And what kind of season did you move to Germany? Like, was it spring or summer, or what was the weather like in Bavaria?
Yeah, it was the end of July, 31st of July, 29th of July we drove over, and then the 1st of August we officially became residents, like we signed all of our documents. But it was 2019 was really, really hot summer.
Yeah.
And in England, I think we were having quite a bad summer as well. But also in England, the weather is generally worse than on the mainland continent anyway. And so yeah, I just remember like leaving England in a big hoodie, and then when we got to Germany, I was sweating, like completely drenched in sweat immediately. And I'm so English and I'm so pale, and the heat just I want the heat to agree with me. I want to be a summer person, but it doesn't like me back. And yeah, I just remember it was, and we live in a top floor flat as well, so we live in the roof section, which is just like twice as hot as well.
Yes, that's true. And in the summer you don't get any fresh air in it somehow. Just at night you want to have it, and then during the day it feels like a sauna.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
Okay. But okay, and how often were you able to go back home? I mean, with the pandemic going on and so on, was that difficult? Is it like, have you been home since then? Since
we went
moving
home
to Germany?
When Zach lost his first job that we moved for, but we'd only been there for a couple of months. We did come home for 1 week. I was at the end, towards the end of 2019. And right now I'm in England right now, and this is the first time since 2019 that we've been home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's just such a long time. I mean, but I mean, the circumstances are just unreal somehow. It's just really, really strange, because I remember when I was living in England from 2015 to 17, I was probably going back home almost every 2 months. To see my family, because it was just so easy to get on the plane and then go back home. But then obviously Brexit came around, I had to go back home and so on. But it's always like it feels like England is attracting me back, and I haven't been back to England since 2019 either, and I just so miss it. So today is summer bank holiday, so happy summer bank holiday to everybody.
Yeah, it's been really weird. I've been getting like I have my works phone for my job here, and I've been getting emails from colleagues and stuff today, and here in England nobody's working, everybody's like out doing stuff.
Out and about, and you're just saying no summer bank holiday,
it feels wrong.
So you are saying that you are receiving emails or calls from work. So what is it that you're doing?
At the moment, I'm working in international sales, so I'm kind of like office coordinator. I do all of the paperwork and keep all of the customer contacts going with our international clients, and then obviously communicating with our international sales team as well. So we are based in China, Russia, Poland, Hungary, and our what's the word I'm looking for? Mutual language is English together. So that's the reason that I was taken on in this job role, was because I'm a native English speaker largely, and I have a history of work in sales and customer service. So I've been luckily in Germany, they're pretty good when you take holidays. So my boss is getting all of my emails also, like they're being forwarded to him, and he has strictly told me that I'm not to answer any of them. He will call me if he needs, if he has an emergency. So that's the great thing about German work culture, I guess, as well, because in England and in America, I think more so, it's kind of like, I know you're on holiday, but I don't care, and you need to sort this right now.
That's true. That's what I've experienced and heard so many times, that I mean, our working rules are quite strict, and that we have work councils if the company is big enough, and they make sure that we don't do too much overtime unless you have a specific contract and so on. But I think this is really, really helpful. I remember in one of my jobs, we always had to like go home at 5:45 in the evening, and if we didn't, then the work council people would walk through the halls and just make sure that all of the people were gone. If they weren't gone, they would have like kicked you out and talked to your boss the next day why you had to go do overtime. So this was, I think this is really, really helpful for your work-life balance. But I've experienced the same, that it's possible when you're working abroad. I mean, I've never worked in the United States before, but I've worked with people who have worked in the United States, and they have like 80 hours per week and so on, even though they have a normal contract. And I think there's only so much you can do and say to say no, it's enough. But if the entire team is doing the same, then you're kind of like expected to put in the same amount of time. Even it doesn't really matter whether you're productive during that time or not, but this is what I feel. I mean, some days I'm really productive when I'm just working 4 hours, and on other days I might be productive if I work 8 hours. But it's just like, it does make sense to work 4 hours and then sit there for 4 hours and just like, I can't, my brain is not working anymore, but I'm just sitting here to, get the time like running or something like that. And so your manager, is he or she German?
Yes.
Okay. So this is really interesting. So how is it working with the German as a boss? Is this person, do you have sometimes the feeling that the Germans are not appreciative enough? Like, are they saying you did a good job and so on? Because this is sometimes something that I think that we can't do.
I think I have a unique experience with this, because I know it's certainly not the same kind of working relationship as I've had with bosses and managers in the UK, but it's definitely more professional. But I do, he is very complimentary and very thankful for when I do tasks for him, and you know, if we have something to do urgently, you know, I don't mind staying late, and he's very if I have to stay late, then it's like, okay, you leave early tomorrow then, because and we're making time up here, which is great. I have no problems. What I do find interesting is how trusting German managers seem to be with just leaving you to your job. I'm so used to being micromanaged in the UK. It's so common that you know, everyone checks up on what you're doing in the UK, and are you doing it right? And you have to CC everyone higher up than you in an email or something so silly. And here in Germany, they're just like, no, just do it.
Just do it. As long as you get it done somehow. So is it, I don't know what the idiom or the saying is in English, that they push you into the deep end
like throw someone into the deep end.
So but I think sometimes that helps. But I've read that so many times, and I hear that people are experiencing the same, like you say, that you get a lot of responsibility right away, and you can do that, and obviously doing that, you can learn how to do these things, and you always know that you can approach your manager. And I mean, your boss seems to be a really kind person, so this is really, really cool. And did you have your job interview in English?
So how I got my job originally was my neighbor and support system. She is a freelance journalist in Germany, and so she interviews like different business owners and people for newspaper articles. And when we moved there, I had a really hard time. As you already know, I applied to over 200 jobs in Germany and got 3 interviews out of those applications. This was one of them. But she was super helpful. So every time she interviewed a business owner, she would say, are you looking for people to hire? are you looking for a native English speaker? And at that point, I spoke maybe A1 level German. It was not very good at all. And it just so happened she interviewed the CEO of this company and said, hey, you're looking? And the CEO said, actually, yeah, that would be great. We have this smaller company that we're setting up, and we want to, it's an international company, so we want someone who can speak English very well. So I applied and went to the interview, and at that time, like I said, my German was very poor. So it was conducted in English, but like broken English, because also the people giving the interview were not fluent in English as well. So it was kind of like a mishmash of understanding, but it worked, and we got there, and I got the job since then. My German, it was my intention as soon as I got a job, I would start taking really intensive German courses and improve my German, because I wanted to learn the language, but prior to having a job, I had no money. So it was kind of a juggle of wanting to learn, but having no money to do the courses.
You have to have the budget so that you can afford the German courses. And are you doing German courses, like when you got your job, did you start doing the German classes online, or was it all like kind of like a Volkshochschule or something like that?
It was with a local language school. It was like a semi-intensive course. So it was every evening, Monday to Thursday, every evening for like 3 hours per night. And so that was, I started my job and my course on the same day, early in March 2020. So not only I did like, I did like 2 weeks, and I was doing like 12-hour days then completely in German, trying to understand and communicate in German, which was frying my brain anyway. And then I went to Hamburg for training for a week, which was all in German, and I had to try my best to understand and learn. Luckily, there's a lot of hand gestures and visual cues that we were able to use between us. And then everything shut down. I got back from Hamburg and the whole world collapsed. So March 2020 was quite stressful for me.
I understand. That makes sense. Oh gosh, okay. Oh wow, okay. And so, and now in your job, are you using your German skills a lot? Do you have to use them a lot?
So I like I said, my clients I speak with in English. Most of my international team I speak with in English, but internally, my other colleagues, my boss is learning English. So we have a great little system where I
like a tandem partnership.
Exactly like that. So I try and communicate as much as I can in German, and he will try and communicate in English, and we correct each other. So that's a great relationship to have, I think, with someone. But internally, I have to speak German with my colleagues. Most of them have a level of understanding in English. The younger colleagues and the interns for sure speak almost fluent English, because it's so popular to do so these days.
That's true.
But my German, once I started to work, my German went through the roof. It got so much better. Just being passively around the language all day helped a million. It was great.
Well, here you're very lucky again, because sometimes when I'm talking to people who are, for example, living in Berlin and working in just an international field or international team, they don't ever use their German skills, and they say, I mean, I've been studying for so long, but I never practice it because my friends and my colleagues always talk English with me. So,
Berlin's a strange one, isn't it? Because in Berlin, you can get by with not knowing any German in Berlin.
That's true. Whenever I travel there, I switch to English the second I get off the train, and that's just, it does make sense.
It's so weird.
But, I mean, I try to, when I meet people and they are trying to speak German, then obviously I try to encourage them because of the job that I'm doing, working with internationals and so on. But and I know that it's really hard if we Germans switch to English right away, but sometimes I have the feelings the Germans just want to practice their English as well.
That's right,
That's why they do that. So, and then with regards to your job hunt, you mentioned something when we were preparing for that, that you think that Instagram is actually quite interesting to find a job. And what do you mean with that? How can we all use Instagram to find a job?
Yeah, so obviously I started my blog and my Instagram shortly after I moved to Germany.
Mhm.
Originally largely to keep family and friends updated, but also particularly Instagram very quickly became a place where I started to build relationships with other expats who were feeling the same things or had gone through the same things as I was going through. So that was, you start to build this network of people surrounding you, and they might know they don't necessarily live in the same part of Germany as I live in, but the internet's wonderful in that sense, and that you can connect with other people. And so recently I wish I'd got the email that I wanted to get today, because I could have spoken about this, so I really can't say too much right now, but a few weeks ago, so I turn 30 next year, and I'm very aware of that fact. I know that age is just a number and it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but for me, so I don't want children, and I'm not I don't want to get married. I have a boyfriend who I love very much, but that's not our
not your path. It's not your idea. Yeah, that's fine.
And I'm at that age now where all of my friends are getting married and having babies.
I know.
And so I'm like, okay, but that's fine. I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
But if I'm not doing that, then what am I doing in life?
Yeah.
And I wanted to have this career and build this career for myself that I really, really loved.
Yeah.
And for me, that came from writing. I've always been a writer right from a kid. My favorite subject in school was English, and writing stories and using my imagination to do that. And then writing the blog was also another way of using that energy. So yeah, a few weeks ago on Instagram, I just put out to a bunch of people that I knew lived and worked in Germany, and was like, hey, I want to be in a career over the next few years that I really, really love. Like I'm really passionate about. And it was amazing. Through just this small network of people that I built up, so many people replied to me, and either they had job opportunities available straight away that I could maybe apply for or start talking to people about, or they were like, not right now, but I'll keep an eye out for you. And since that time, they come back to me with certain opportunities that are available, or they said, I don't know, but hey, I'm self-employed. So and I'm in Germany, I'm a native English speaker living in Germany, I'm self-employed. If you ever think about going in that direction, hit me up, we can talk, I can explain everything to you. So yeah, for me, and this is just like complete strangers, essentially, I know these people from Instagram and from this little online expat community, but I don't know them. I've never met these people personally.
But you're all in the same boat.
Yeah, and it's just been amazing. The response was incredible. And I don't have a large Instagram following by any means, but the engagement and community that I've kind of built with it is just incredible. And I'd much rather that than have like 150,000 followers.
Exactly. I know what you mean. And it's just, there are so many things that you just said that are so amazing and interesting. And I think you're on a very fabulous path, thinking about what it actually is that, with regards to your career, that sparks joy in you, that you want to like follow, because there are so many. This is something that I always discuss with my coachees, is they don't get asked when they are in school, what do you like, what are you good at? And it's just, you get this general like box you have to fit in, then you're learning all of this stuff, and you are quite good when you leave the school probably, but then you go into a certain path. And what happens if you then realize this path is not the right path for me, and then you all of a sudden you are at a cliff somehow, and then you think, no, am I going to jump or not? So I think it's really, and especially what you said, that turning 30, I have the same. I just turned 32 for 1st of August, and the thing is that I have so many friends who have gotten married a couple of years ago, already are receiving their second child, or for example, or giving birth to their second child, and so on. And they always, when I meet them, they always say, "So Lisa, are you pregnant yet?" And I said, no, don't worry about that. That's fine. And to me, it's lucky me, I didn't have an issue with turning 30, but I have a lot of friends, especially female, and who have this issue. And I think that might be an interesting question for one of your blog posts. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
It actually is, because it's not that the guys are being asked. I mean, they are being asked when they're turning 30, oh, are you getting children? But it's not like the inner clock that they're having with regards to, I mean, guys can have children whenever they want, but now, like being our age, it's just the perfect age somehow to blossom and bring children into this world. But if we don't want to do that, then that's fine. It's totally fine. And I think we should be a lot more relaxed. And I'm so happy that my friends are not pushing me, but I think you have to figure this out for yourself, because this is really, really hard when you see all your friends around getting married and having children and so on. But you will see, once you have achieved this goal of like the path that, I mean, you are on that path already with writing your blog and knowing that writing is your joy. I have so many friends that don't say that they are happy with their job. And there are so many people out there who are not happy with their job, and they don't even know why they are not happy with their job. And you've already found out what it is that you really
and the
like.
thing is, as well, cool. Like my current job, there's absolutely nothing wrong with my current job that I do, and I love the company I work for. Like I've already discussed, my boss is great, and I really again been very privileged and lucky in my journey in Germany. It's purely a selfish point of view where I'm like, I want to do what I really love in life. So that's all it is.
I mean, this is what gets you out of bed in the morning, right? I mean,
exactly,
knowing that you are doing what you love. And this is just amazing, because so many people don't know what they actually love. And do you remember, I mean, from the blog posts that I've seen, you really have talent. And it's just the way how you're writing is it's just like, I don't want to stop reading, it's just like, it just makes this story. I mean, I also with your recent blog post, so from what I've seen, you're posting a blog post every month, right? Or do you do that even like every 2 weeks or so?
So yeah, it is every week. However, I've taken the last month off just because I was so stressed with, we had so many complications with trying to get back to England for our holiday plans. So I teach English in the evenings as well online.
I see.
And working full time. So I was like, okay, something I need to calm myself down. So I've taken a month off. I'll be writing and uploading a new blog post for this coming weekend. So I will be back. But it's normally every week. Okay.
And I mean, from what I've seen, it's like the last blog posts that I've read were about the Europeans and the British, and how they see, or how we Europeans see you guys. So and I mean, it was just like, okay, part 1 is out, when can I get part 2, and so on. So it's just like it's like a really, really good series that you can watch on Netflix or Amazon Prime or so, and then you want to get to the next episode. So it's really, really wonderful how you're writing that. It's just the style, how you're writing it is. You are definitely a wonderful writer, so you should keep that up. But what my question was, and I'm nearly getting to the end, but it's just so interesting. I'm so sorry. When you remember that when you were a child or when you were younger and writing in school, was there a specific area that you liked writing, like fantasy, or was it more research based, or what are you like, or more journalism or something like that? What is it that you like to write?
Yeah, so I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I always wrote like fiction stories or made up stories, but they were always based off real events happened. And then that makes sense because as I've kind of grown up and spiraled, I mean, my favorite genre to read, I very, very rarely read fiction. I love real people, real events, history, social, like sociology and psychology and stuff like that. So I read mostly nonfiction, and that's what I like to write about. And with the kind of the recent blog post about Europeans and British, that was kind of more of a journalistic style, and it's something that I'm trying because I've never really tried kind of journalism before. But I had such a good response to that because I really love to learn about uncomfortable things that maybe some people don't like talking about. So I'm really fascinated by them. So that's something I hope that I can pursue again in the future and do some more journalism in that kind of sense.
And that makes sense. And I'm very much looking forward to reading more. So all of the people, I mean, I just wanted to take a look whether there are any people who have any questions. I've seen that there are 2 people watching us the entire time on Facebook here, but I can't see whether they are writing any comments. So let me just quickly have a look here. But it can turn, okay. No, there are no, but there are 2 people watching. So hi, people who are watching. So whoever is watching this video now, how can they read more about you? Where can people find you online?
So you can find me on my blog, which is adventuresofsteffi.com. And then you can find me on Instagram, which is @theadventuresofsteffi. I do have a Facebook, but I don't have the Facebook app on my phone, so I'm terrible at keeping it updated.
I have the same issue.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but I always have the feeling when I had the app on my phone, I was just constantly distracted, and that's why I said no, I don't want to have it anymore. So I'm just going online every now and then. But that's why I'm terrible at answering on Facebook. That's so true.
Yeah. With Instagram, it's weird. I can set myself boundaries with Instagram, so I have that on my phone. But with Facebook, something sucks you into it, and you can't get out for like 2 hours.
Right. It's like going into a casino at Vegas and you don't ever get out.
Yeah. So I had to delete it. So I do have a Facebook page, but I'm just terrible at updating it.
Yeah. But that's no issue. I mean, we know where to find you. Everybody, I can just highly recommend you to read Steffi's blog because it contains so many valuable aspects that are out there for you expats or aspiring expats, especially when you're coming to Germany. So go on, head over to her blog or follow her on Instagram or both. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. And Steffi, thank you so much for being my guest today. And I'm very much looking forward to all of your stories, and have a wonderful holiday in England. And I'm very much looking forward to the next blog post on the weekend. So thank you very much. And bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.